Hello, guys, and welcome back to my channel. Hope you guys are doing well. Today, I was thinking about reminiscing about some of the things I have lived throughout my life, and of course, in the past, I've had a pretty adventurous life. I would say that I'm quite blessed with the fact that I've had a very adventurous life. I've taken a lot of risks during my life, especially my youth, and now that I sit here, you know, in my room at the age of 33, and obviously recently I haven't been taking many risks. I haven't been doing much that is out there. I've just been sort of taking it easy and chilling out, taking a rest, so to speak. But I like to think about my past. I like to think about the things that I did in the past, and I'm quite proud of myself. I'm quite happy with the life that I've lived and the experience that I managed to acquire. Obviously, I say that I was blessed, you know, blessed with being adventurous and having all these experiences, but probably I shouldn't say that I was blessed. Probably I should say that, that I fought for it, that I went for it. Because had I been a wimp, had I been a coward, had I been somebody that uh, didn't want to take any risks, I probably would not have experienced all these things. I would probably wouldn't have lived these experiences. I probably wouldn't have managed to get all these things done and to have experienced so many things that when I look around me and I say, there's a lot of people that haven't gone for it. There's a lot of people that haven't taken these risks and, managed to take a bold charge of their lives, so to speak. So what as I'm sitting here dwelling on these things and thinking about these things, but probably I shouldn't be thinking about it too much, but I always like to make use of it in some way. And as I'm thinking about it, I was like, yeah, maybe I'll give you guys a little piece of my mind, you know, my opinion about how life should be lived as opposed to how it shouldn't be lived. So today's video is basically going to be about you know, being adventurous and the importance of being adventurous and the importance of not playing life on safe mode. Okay. So, why is it important to not play life on safe mode? Well, basically because in this life and the way that life works is that the fire, the fire is the fire of life, the proverbial fire of life is everywhere, all around you. It's inescapable. It's something that you cannot avoid in any way, shape, or form, you know. And there's really no purpose, I think, in trying to avoid taking risks and going on adventures and that kind of stuff. Because at the end of the day, life is very short and, YOLO, you only live once. Might as well enjoy the most of it as you can. And as such, that's why it's really important to not play everything safely, you know, because life is not meant to be safe. Life is supposed to be quite risky. And nowadays, unfortunately, the way that the people are raised in this society, and I don't mean the real humans, I don't mean the real humans that live in the forests and live in the jungle and the wilderness. Those are the real humans. They really know how to live. I am talking about the false humans that live in civilization, that live in the cities. And, these people are raised almost like sheep. And I talked about it recently in one of my videos. And I told you guys about how the government is a lot like a shepherd. And all the people working for the government, basically paying taxes, are considered by the government to be a bunch of sheep. And that's basically how the government sees the little people as just being a bunch of sheep under their control. And they want people to be sheepish. They want people to be like the little sheep. and to play everything safe. You know, everything is safe nowadays, especially when you look at the people around you. Um, every time somebody does something ballsy or bold or brave or takes any level of risk, the people around him or her, they'll start to sort of like laugh at you and make fun of you and call you crazy and say that you're nuts and that you're insane and all this kind of stuff. And actually, it's so funny because it just goes to show you how brainwashed the sheep are, the slaves in the society, because they've been so. When you are raised as a sheep, the correct the life is not going to make sense to you when you see a normal human, a human who has dignity, honor, and freedom. Is not going to make any sense to you, because when you're raised as a sheep, when the sheep looks at the lion, he thinks, "Whoa, this lion is fucking nuts," right? From the perspective of the sheep, the lion looks like a complete madman, a complete nutter, a complete crazy individual, right? And I was watching recently this video. I think it's still there on YouTube. You know, there was there was this guy. He's the Maasai tribe of Kenya, and of course the Maasai, they are pastoralists. You know, they take care of cattle, mostly cows, but also sheep, and they this is how they subsist. This is how they live. Is they take care of all these cattle, and they have to, of course, protect them in order to be able to get food. To slaughter them and get the meat and drink the blood and drink the milk. Um, so what happened in that video was basically it was like a video of one of these Maasai tribesmen uh, who picked up a spear and went after a lion, and he's trying to threaten. He's like running after a lion and trying to threaten him uh, to get him to leave because the lion had eaten and killed one of his cows. Right, so the lion came and started to kill and eat the cow. So to obviously the sensible or reasonable thing to do would be to take a spear and go after the lion to chase him away so that the lion would run away. And of course, that's exactly what happened in the video. So the Maasai tribesman takes the spear and forces the lion to retreat, to run away, so that he can get back his cow, right? To protect his cow. I mean, the cow was already dead, but at the least you can take the meat that was killed and give it to your tribe and consume it, which makes a lot of sense, right? Because just because it was killed by the lion, that doesn't mean it should go to waste, right? That's a lot of meat, guys. A cow is like 300 kilograms. That's a lot of meat. Can you imagine 300 kilograms of meat? That's not something that you would want to just throw away or waste. So as he's doing that, and he takes a spear and chases down the lion to get him to back off and go away, this crazy, stupid lady, this Karen, this dumb fucking Karen, she just starts shouting and she's like, crazy man, this guy's crazy. You know what I mean? And after dealing with the lion, the Maasai tribesman, he turns around and looks at her and starts shouting at her like shut the fuck up, you stupid bitch. Like what do you like I don't need you to be fucking, annoying me right now. Like just shut the fuck up. Anyway, so yeah, I mean, you see the problem, right? The sheepish people, the sheep don't understand why this Maasai tribesman is taking the risk with his spear to go chase down a lion, knowing that the lion could technically potentially attack him, which could lead to injury. Well, that's just how it is for humans in nature. And this is something that the people who were raised as sheep in under the rule and law of the government, will never understand, right? Because the government, I told you guys, the government is like a shepherd, and they're treating all these people like vassals, like slaves, like serfs, like sheep that they are controlling and telling them what to do and that kind of stuff. So obviously, the government wants all the people, the sheep, to live a very safe and unadventurous life until the day they die. So all they want for you, um, for the silly little slaves, is like a very prepackaged life. I like to call it the prepackaged life. It's kind of like you know, the, uh, the instructions are all coming from you know, the instructions are all coming in the box, and you just read the instructions, follow the instructions, and what I mean, it's like just follow the instructions and you'll get there. What I mean, that's the whole mentality. So they want everybody to have a very safe, unadventurous life, and it's the whole same fucking thing. You're a child. You go to kindergarten, and then you grow older, and then you go to school, and then after high school, you graduate, and you have to apply to a bunch of universities, and then you go to university, and then you study for a couple of years, and you get your degree, and then you choose whatever you start applying to different companies, and then you get a job, and then and then you just work your ass off for like 10, 20 fucking years, and then get married, mortgage, house, a car, the usual typical shit that everybody does. And this is just the way they live. And of course, these people always wonder why they have so many problems with depression and mental illness. What I mean? And you look around you, and the levels of depression are going through the fucking roof. People are so sorely, miserably depressed, and like people uh, go into the doctors, to the psychiatrists to get treatment and get sessions and all that kind of stuff, and taking medication and all this stupid shit, thinking that the medication and the and the and the therapy session is going to help them. Like, nobody's going to help you solve your problems because you haven't solved the problem at the root cause. Because your problem is that you're living life on safe mode, and this, what I mean, the reason why the people in nature, the hunter gatherers, the primitive people, the reason why the nomadic people are so happy, is essentially because their lives are so risky. They can never guarantee that they're going to wake up the next day and be alive. So every minute that they live counts so much. Every minute that they live means so much to them. And they're so happy and euphoric pretty much all the time. And so that's the reason why these, people who raise a sheep, they have all these problems, because the government is telling them, the society, the government is telling them to play life on the safe mode. Just follow the rules, do all the things they tell you. Get a job, pay taxes, get married, and all the silly stuff that they expect everybody to do, and don't have any adventurous life that you would be taking any risks or anything of that nature. That's exactly what they expect everybody to do, and then they wonder why all these people are so like depressed. The rates of depression are through the roof, and people committing suicide and taking medication to solve the problems, and then people just turning to drugs and alcohol and all this stuff. And of course, the fact that you're turning to drugs and alcohol is in itself a symptom of your own misery and depression, because only depressed and unhappy people would need to use drugs and this kind of stuff to numb themselves out or to forget about the misery of their lives. You know what I mean? So it's completely fucking stupid. So anyway, that's the reason why I would recommend people is, don't live life, don't be a wimp. Don't be a wimp. Don't be that unadventurous person. Don't be that person that never takes risks. On the contrary, be that person that takes the risk. Because in this life, there's no way, no pain, no gain, man. There's no pain, there's no gain. No risk, no reward, man. If you don't take any risk, you're not gonna get a goddamn fucking thing. You know what I mean? Like, if you don't take any risk, you will never get anything. So if you think that by playing safe, you're gonna get something, you're gonna get nothing. You're gonna get nothing by playing things safe. So don't be unadventurous. Don't be a wimp. Take risks. Go for it, man. You know, do as many risky things as you wish to do. Don't be afraid of the consequences. And I love this movie that came out. I think about uh, what is it, like 12 years ago or something. It's called Into the Wild, and Into the Wild is actually pretty amazing. Like, Into the Wild is a pretty decent movie. I mean, excuse me, I'm just gonna move around here. Yeah. So, Into the Wild is like, it makes a story about this kid that was raised, as I said, in a very wimpish kind of way. Just his parents trying to box him in and tell him what to do, and just follow that regular life that everybody expects you to follow. And then he decides, fuck it, I don't want it. And he had like a trust fund, and he took all the money and burned that fucking money. And then he literally went into the wild. He took a van and just went into the wilderness. He started like hunting animals and just living in natural life. And it was a pretty cool movie. He eventually died. Obviously, some bad things happened, and he I think he consumed this plant that was toxic or something like that. He ended up having problems with indigestion, and he died. But that was actually a beautiful movie because it just shows you that even the people that were raised to be absolute sheep, even they can change. Even if you were raised as a total sheep, you can change. You can do something to change. You can, start taking risks in your life. Start facing life as opposed to running away from it. To try to go for adventures, to explore the world, go on adventures. Start living your life. So as I'm thinking and reflecting about some of my experiences in the past, and I'm like, man, I look at some of the people that I meet a lot of people, and I talk to them, and they tell me, man, I've lived my life pretty safely, to be honest. Like, I haven't done anything even remotely risky in my life. And I'm looking at them and I'm like, man, that is so not me. You know what I mean? Like, like, my life is very, very fucking adventurous and has been very, very, very risky, pretty much on the edge of a knife, so to speak. Well, I mean, not all the way. Obviously, I'm sure there's a lot of people out there that have taken much, much more risks than I do. And, you could look at people like Andrew Tate, for example, or Donald Trump, or, you know, um, I don't know, man. You know, people that took a lot of risks. I don't know. Let's say Christopher Columbus, for example, or some explorers that went and explored different countries and that kind of stuff. There's way, way too many people that have done that as well. And even today, even nowadays, there's a lot of people that are taking a lot of risks. And, what's his name? Conor McGregor, for example, or Khabib. These MMA fighters obviously taking a lot of risks and living a pretty adventurous life. So that's pretty cool. Obviously, I would not, I would not compare any. I would compare to these people at all, but everything is in degrees. You know what I mean? So, but still, I like the fact that I've definitely lived a pretty adventurous life, and I've definitely taken a lot of risks in my life, and I have not played it safe most of the time. Although there were times when I did play things safe, but generally hasn't been the case for me. So just to give you like an example of what kind of life that I led, in case you wanted to know, I guess to get to know me a little bit better, or to know at least what kind of person you're dealing with, and because a lot of people accuse me of lying. This is one of the things I deal with oftentimes. A lot of people accuse me of lying. When I tell people stories about the shit that I did in my life, you know, they just look at me and they say, "Nah, you're lying. I don't believe you." You know, they'll like flat out to my fucking face say, "I don't believe you. I think you're lying. I think you're bullshitting." And I totally get it. I totally get it. There's a lot of people out there that lie and lie and lie, and they'll say, man, I did this and I did that, and I banged this chick and I went here and I robbed the bank and I did, I don't know, blah 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 blah. And of course, they didn't do jack fucking shit. You know what I mean? But I'm not that type of person. I don't like to lie because I feel that when you lie, and you're telling people things that didn't really happen to boost your self-esteem or to make yourself feel better about yourself, which is, by the way, something that narcissistic people tend to do quite a lot. I think when you do that, I mean, basically, why are you doing this? It's so pathetic, right? It's so silly. Like, first of all, before you're lying to somebody, you're actually lying to yourself. So when you're actually lying to people, you're actually lying to yourself, first of all. And second of all, if you're lying, bragging to somebody about things that you didn't fucking do, and lying to somebody about things that you didn't fucking do, that's pathetic, man. Because how do you feel about yourself? Because deep down in your soul of souls and heart of hearts that you haven't actually done those things. So even if they give you the approval that you seek, or the validation that you seek, or even if they applaud you or admire you for the things that you said, I mean, at the end of the day, those things are not true. So it's so ridiculous. Like, I mean, if somebody's going to admire me for something that I did, or give me respect for it, I would at least want it to be true, right? I mean, I would want to get the respect and the admiration of other people, but I would like to get it based on the things that I have actually done, not based on things that I haven't done. That's just ridiculous, man. So anyway, I did take quite a few risks in my life, and I haven't lived it on a safe mode. I've been pretty adventurous. So one of the things I did when I was 16 years old, actually, I've been pretty adventurous ever since I was born. So, even as a little baby, as a little child, I was quite brave. I was quite adventurous, and I was quite I like to explore things. I like to test things out, to try things out, and I took a lot of risks. And I used to be also had a pretty I had a pretty violent temperament as well as a child. I mean, this is probably something that is maybe not nice to talk about because I've kind of tempered out over the years. I mean, like now as an adult, I don't think that I'm as violent as I used to be as a child. Or I at least like to think so. But, obviously as a kid, I had a pretty fucking violent temperament. I was a very violent little kid. And I remember one day, something that really surprised my family was that one day they came to the garden of my grandmother's house, and they found this like fucking poor little turtle, and the turtle's fucking head was rolling on the ground, and there's blood everywhere, and they were like confused, like, what the fuck just happened? Who did this? And they looked at me, and they saw me, and there was just blood you know, all this blood on my fucking hands, you know, and it's I can totally imagine it, that like my family looking at me and like, what I mean, from the perspective of adults, to look at this like little 5 year old or 4 year old kid with blood on his hands, just fucking going around, you know, killing turtles and chopping off their heads with his bare hands. And because that's what I did. I just fucking took the fucking turtle and I just fucking like snapped his fucking neck off. And I mean, I think it's pretty I don't know if it is typical of children, but it was back in my day. When I was, because I was born in 1991, so back in those days, maybe it was much more common for kids to maybe abuse or torture animals or something like that. But I don't know, man. I can't judge. I can't judge if it's normal or if it's not normal. I don't really know. But that's just the way I was. I had a pretty violent temperament, and I remember I used to get so angry when I would see cats. I never really liked cats for some fucking reason when I was a kid. Um, Now a little bit more. I do like cats a little bit more. Obviously, I prefer dogs. I'm more of a dog person, but I did hate cats so much. And every time I would see a cat, what I would do is I would just catch it by the tail and I would just swing it around in the air, and then just fucking throw it on barbed wire. Just smash it against barbed wire. Because I don't know what it was, but they really pissed me off. Like, just every time I would see a cat, I would just get so fucking angry. And yeah. But I don't know. Those were different times, and obviously, like I was very very fucking violent as a child, as a kid, very very violent, ruthlessly, cruelly violent. Sometimes I would just go and like fucking attack my cousins, for example, in very cold-hearted and callous ways. I would just fucking take like a, what I mean, like I would just take a fucking like chair or something and just fucking like, how do you say, attack them with the chair, like just to smash the chair on their fucking head or something like that. Um, yeah, that was fucking brutal. I don't know why I was doing that. I guess because I was pretty severely abused as a child, especially by my mom. That I just grew up to be. I don't know. I guess as a child I was pretty callous. Um, but yeah, it got even worse. Even as I grew older, like I was, I think at the age of 7 or something like that, there was this kid, and I used to like fight him, and I used to beat the shit out of him, and I'd go and attack him and beat him up, and we'd have like a fight. And I would take him and I would just like throw him against this barbed wire. You know what I mean? I would just fucking trash him and fucking throw him on this barbed wire. And the poor guy, man, like he would be fucking bleeding, man. He would be bleeding all over, like his entire fucking arm is like bleeding. You know what I mean? And yeah, but I mean, I think violence is pretty normal. Because I'm African, obviously, violence is pretty normal where I come from, especially as a kid. Like you're expected to be subjected to a lot of brutality and violence anyway. So, it's not like I was the only one beating up people and killing animals. I mean, I was also getting beaten up. I remember the adults sometimes would take me by my, would fucking take me by my legs. I swear to God, man, some people would pass by and just fucking, you know, catch me by my fucking legs and just fucking like swim me in the air like this to punish me or something like that. But it never worked because I wasn't particularly sensitive to pain for some fucking reason. And yeah. But anyway, yeah, and I was pretty adventurous as a kid. used to do a lot of things. He used to make these what do you call them, those slings. Yeah, those slings. He used to make these slings, and we just go and trying to get these fucking birds, to just hunt down these fucking birds, and that was pretty cool. But yeah, I mean, I'm gonna talk a little bit more about when I became a young adult. Like starting from the age of 16, because I think that's much more relevant. I mean, because it's easy to judge a kid and say, oh, this child is adventurous, or this child is taking a lot of risks, because a lot of children still do to this day take a lot of risks. It's only when they grow older. This is typically what happens to a lot of people. Like as children, they're probably most kids are pretty adventurous as children, but not all kids. There are still a lot of kids that are pretty wimpish from the day they are born. So, but I think that's what happens to a lot of people. They're born as children and take a lot of risks, and then slowly as they grow older, they start to take less and less risks. You know what I mean? They start to play things safer and safer and safer. Unfortunately, and that's all of it because of the government. The government wants people to become sheepish and play it safe, and that's just the way that they want people to become sheep, because then they can take advantage of them. And of course, the people that own the government, or the people that lead the government, these people, these elite that we don't really see or know who they are. Even you talk about the Freemasons and the Illuminati and all the people that rule the society. Like we don't know these people. Like these people, you've never seen them. You don't even know who they are. And they always take risks. They're not playing life. They're not playing life safely. If they've been playing life safely, they wouldn't be in the position that they are in right now, ruling society, ruling the world. No way. And yeah, I mean, when I grew older, I was still taking a lot of risks, and yeah, at the age of 16, I actually formed a gang. Me and a couple of buddies, we formed a gang of thieves. We were basically, stealing shit to make money. Because like when you're 16 years old and you have no money, and you're like, I want money. I want to be able to do stuff, right? I want to like go to the cinema, maybe go see some prostitutes, maybe get drunk, or try this, try that. I want to try this. I want to try that. I want to try, all this kind of stuff that you want to. You see stuff around you that you want to try, but you don't have access to it, maybe because you don't have money, because the society is just based on capitalism. It's based on money, right? No money, no honey, right? You don't have no money, you can't do nothing, right? So, we decided to form this gang. And I remember I had a pretty fond memory of myself when I was 16. I tried it the first time. I went by myself to one of these stores, and I tried to steal these like cheap earphones. And I felt so fucking happy with myself when I did it. And I was like, man, see, that's the thing about life, that the more you do things successfully, the more confident you become. So if you want to gain confidence, you just have to keep trying to do something, and you have to achieve it. And when you get that thing done and you become successful, you gain confidence. Obviously, if you do nothing, or you're always failing, you will lose confidence, because the experience is going to teach you, for example, that you probably shouldn't be doing it because, I don't know, something, right? So anyway, I tried to steal those earphones, and it succeeded, and I was like, man, that's cool. So if I can do this, maybe I can steal something that is worth a little bit more money and make more money, right? And that settled the idea in my head. I was like, man, yeah, exactly. I'm gonna get more money this way. And I decided to start. I was like, my brain started functioning. I was like, what is the object that is sold in stores which has the biggest value but the smallest size? And the answer was, of course, hard disks and iPods. Back then, there was something called iPod iTouch, right? And I was like, these things are relatively small, and they cost a lot of money. So if you sell like one of them, you're gonna get like $500 or some shit like that. I was like, man. So all you have to do is get a couple of these, and you're gonna make like a big bank, right? So yeah, that's what we started to do, and we, for like 2 years, we were doing that shit for like 2 years, and I think at the end of 2 years, eventually I got caught. I was captured by the police eventually at the age of 18. So that like went on for like 2 years or something like that. It was quite funny how it happened actually. Um, I remember so fucking vividly when it happened, man. Like I just remember it so vividly and lucidly. Going in there and trying to steal that shit, and then I got caught, and I was fucked up. I knew that moment, shit, I'm gonna go to jail. Fuck. I was like, shit, man, this is gonna happen. And then, um, the police came, and they sent two of these agents, and they put the handcuffs on me, and they dragged me around the mall to the police station, and they forced me to write a report about the things that I did that day. I had actually done a couple of mistakes that day. That was an unlucky day. This is my recommendation to people. If you're gonna be a thief, you have to be clever, hyper vigilant, and calm and collected. Like you can't freak out or panic when you're doing these things, because if you do, people are gonna notice, and you're gonna be fucked. And you have to also not make mistakes. So mistakes are not allowed. You make a mistake, you're fucked. Absolutely fucked. And yeah. So I went to one of these stores, electronic stores, and I managed to steal an iPod, and that was like about $500. So I was quite happy about that. And then I went to another mall to steal another one from another store. And I still had the previous one in my bag, which I forgot about. That was quite stupid. You know what I mean? And I'm trying to steal this fucking thing, and the security guard sees me, and I see him. I spot him immediately. I'm like, shit, he saw me. And I'm like, abort, 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 get the fuck out of here, And I'm like slowly just moving out of there. But the security guard comes after me, catches me. And I'm like, hey, man, I didn't do nothing, man. What do you want from me, man? Like, I didn't do nothing, I got nothing. And then he's like, well, then show me your bag. And I'm like, I'll show you my bag. I got nothing in my bag. You know what I mean? And then it hit me. It hit me in that fucking moment, that moment when you're like, it just hits you like a ton of bricks. You're going to go to jail, motherfucker. And I was like, shit, I still have it in my bag. Oh, fuck. And then, he just he opens the bag and he finds the iPod. Now, the security guard thinks that it's the iPod that I stole from that store. But then he goes in, they go to a room where they have like a computer, and they check, and they say, I tell them, guys, this iPod is not from here, right? I got this as a gift from somebody else, right? And then he's like, okay, I don't believe you. So he's like, don't lie to me. If you lie to me, it's not going to help you. I was like, okay, I'm not going to lie to you, man. All right. It was a gift. It's a gift. I got this as a gift. You can check on your computer, by the way, and you're going to see on the computer that it's not going to show up because it's not from this store. And he was like, okay, you know what? I'm going to check. And then he puts the serial code, the serial number on the computer, and it shows him, what it does show him is that this iPod does not belong to the store, correct? However, it is not registered as being sold, as in it's registered as belonging to another branch of the same company, but that it is technically still in the store, which of course is evidence and proof. It means that it's stolen. That's what it means. Because if you got it as a gift, it would show up in the computer as being sold, but it didn't show it up as being sold. It shows it up as being still in the store. So how did you have it? How did you get it? so it's stolen, right? And that's when I got, what I mean? It's like, I tried everything. And when you're just like fucked and you're like, oh shit, there's nothing. You can't talk your way out of it. You can't lie. There's nothing you can do. And you're like, oh man, okay, you know what? Whatever. You're going to go to jail. But yeah, I mean, we did that for quite a while. I think by the time that I got caught at the age of 18, we've been doing this for like 2 years. And in total, I managed to steal, I think, $20,000 worth of goods. So that's like, hard disks, hard drives, iPods, all sorts of shit that we would take and fucking sell online and just get money that way. Obviously, we usually like reduce the price a little bit just to kind of make sure that it sells. But it worked like a charm, actually. It wasn't a problem. And yeah, I think by the time that I was like 18, yeah, we had taken like $20,000, dollars worth of goods, and that's pretty decent for a teenager. So yeah, this is the thing. I don't recommend people to steal, and I don't recommend people to do things that are illegal, but at the same time, I don't really have any qualms about it, if you know what I mean, because the way that I see the society, it's all fucking bullshit and garbage, I mean? They just try to... This is the problem that a lot of the sheep don't understand. See, the rulers, the government officials, and the elite that rule the government and the society, they want the sheep to abide by certain rules and laws, which, of course, they do not abide by. You see, these fucking elites, the rulers of the society and the government, do you think they are abiding by any of the laws that they are setting up for the citizens? So they're telling the citizens, like, follow the rules, follow the law, don't steal, don't kill, don't rape, don't do blah, 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 blah. But do you think, here's a question for you guys, do you think that the rulers of the society, the government officials and the government and even the police, do you think the rules and laws apply to them? As in, do you think that they follow these rules and laws? No, they don't. Even in America, heck, even in Germany, but whatever, anywhere in the world, police officers are always going around raping people all the time, and it's talked about quite a lot, the police brutality. In America, for example, the police are brutalizing people all the time. And you guys see it all the time. Like you saw George Floyd, for example, BLM, right? The police basically took George Floyd in and murdered him in cold blood in front of everybody. And you can't fucking tell me that them killing George Floyd was a mistake. No, it's not a mistake. The police are very well trained. Like, they know exactly how to neutralize somebody on the ground without killing them. So for them to deliberately put their knee on George Floyd's neck to choke him and kill him, that's a deliberate act. That's a fucking murder, man. That's killing somebody. That's murder, man. That's on purpose, man. So talk about all this, like police, even, for example. Like, let's not even get too deep and talk about the government and the officials and the rulers of the society. Look at even the police, what they're doing. Police are killing people. They're raping people by the loads, by the hundreds. Police is just going around and sticking their fucking dirty dicks everywhere, man. Who hasn't the police raped? The police is raping everybody, man. All the time they're talking about this all the time, the corrupt cops and the corruption and the police that are going on beating up and raping people. Come on, man. And they want you to follow these stupid fucking laws and rules and all this shit. And of course, the police themselves and the government officials and the government itself and the rulers of the society, they're not following any of these rules. Look at the richest, most powerful people. Look at what's his name? Jeffrey Epstein. Right, Jeffrey Epstein, right? They claim that he committed suicide, which I think is bullshit, but who knows, right? But look at this guy, man. He had the fucking Pleasure Island. Pleasure fucking Island, man. bringing fucking, you know, young girls, some of them even barely 12 or 13. The guy's basically engaging in pedophilia. And God knows what else he was doing, you know what I mean? Like, you have to ask questions like, how did he make all this money? And how did he. I don't think he made all that money by being, law abiding citizen. Excuse my language. You know what I mean? Like, he was probably stealing shit and doing all sorts of illegal crap. So that's the thing, man. These rich people, like the rich, powerful people that rule the society, like they're not following any of the laws and rules. You know what I mean? They don't care. They're just going around. They got dude has like a pleasure fucking island. He's just flying in all these young girls and young boys to fucking fuck them and rape them and engaging in pedophilia. Like, who cares? And then, they're gonna sit there and fucking complain about some random ass fucking dude that is sitting in his mom's basement watching child pornography, and they're gonna call the fucking National Guard on your ass because you're watching child pornography, and you're gonna go to jail for a long ass fucking time. I mean, I don't watch child pornography, by the way, and I never would, and I'm not interested in that kind of thing. But I'm just saying, the hypocrisy, the absolute hypocrisy. But yeah, that's the thing about the society and how it is designed. They want to apply rules for the sheep and tell them, like, don't do this, I don't know what. And they want you to play everything safe. No, fuck that shit, man. Take risks. Be as adventurous as you can, man. Don't be a fucking pussy. Don't be a wimp, man. There's a lot of things you can do in this life. Why should you limit yourself because somebody thinks that you should put limitations and caps on your on the way you live your life? Especially the people that became really powerful and strong. They didn't do it by being unadventurous and wimpish. No, they did it by taking risks. They did it by doing the things that a lot of other people were not willing to do. That's how they become leaders. That's how they become the dominant people in society. That's how they gain power. And yeah, so again, I'm not trying to brag myself or anything like that. I'm not not recommending anybody to go and commit crimes or whatever. But I'm just saying, don't play it safe. Take risks if you have to. And yeah, some of the other things I did, because I've led a relatively adventurous life, was like, I told you guys I walked 1,000 kilometers in the wilderness by myself. She took a tent. I just had like a tent, a sleeping bag, and I decided to walk from Germany to France 1,000 kilometers, and I did it 3 times. 3 times, yeah, I did it 3 fucking times. 1,000 kilometers, 1,000 kilometers, 1,000 kilometers, 3 fucking times. And this is the thing, guys. See, this is one of the reasons why the government doesn't want you guys. Sorry, that the government wants you guys to work. Because when you are working like a fucking slave, a 9 to 5 job, you're never gonna have time to do these amazing things. If you want to take your fucking, you want to take all your shit and go and travel and explore the world and walk 1,000 kilometers in the wilderness and have fun and just chill out in your tent and that kind of stuff. How are you going to do that? How are you going to do that if you have a 9 to 5 job? You will never be able to do that. You will never have the time to do that. When are you ever going to have the time to do that? You will never have the time. And not only the time, but you're never going to have the energy. That's the important thing. Because what that 9 to 5 job is doing, it's taking away your energy. It's making you depressed. It's sapping you of energy. You lose energy. When you work, you lose energy. You don't gain energy. The only way to gain energy is to live life on your terms. When you go and you work for somebody, you're losing energy. You're being sapped and drained of your energy. And you're not going to have the motivation and willpower to do any of the things that you could be doing. And guys, I mean, these 3 times that I was walking like 1,000 kilometers, these trips were amazing. Like I felt the best feeling in my life. And there was no fucking better feeling in the world. It just feels amazing. And that was also the time when I remember I was somewhere near Zaland here in Germany. I was camping out there in somewhere in the hills, and there was like these three wolves that came, and I fucking met three wolves, and that was fucking fantastic, man. You know what I mean? Like most people have never seen a wolf face to face. You know, you go around now and ask somebody, say, "Have you ever seen a wolf face to face?" They'll probably say, "Oh, no, no, I haven't." So that was pretty fucking amazing to see three wolves. You know, they were pretty close. Like they came like fucking 15 meters close to me. Like that was fantastic. A bit scary, but fantastic. Yeah, and of course, you know, I traveled by myself. I used to do a lot of solo traveling as well, and I recommend people to do that as well. Like if you wanna live an adventurous life, or you wanna take risks, like go for it. I recommend that. Travel by yourself. Just pick up a bag, fill it up with some stuff, some random clothes or some shit like that that you need. Yeah, the basic stuff like your passport, a charger, some different types of clothes. You know, nothing too much. You know, a toothbrush if you want to, but I don't brush my teeth, so I don't really. But I don't know if that's your fucking jive, then you know, put a toothbrush in there, whatever. And I did a lot of solo traveling. I remember many times I traveled to different countries. I once remember I went to America. I visited Boston. Went to New York once. I went to Buffalo, New York. That was fucking fantastic. I loved it. Went to Niagara Falls. Oh man, Niagara Falls is amazing. Man, Niagara Falls was something else, man. When I saw Niagara Falls, I was like, man, this place is fantastic, man. Like I don't know what took me, but I was it's so fantastic. Like I was walking on the what do you call it, on the borders of the river, right? At the place where it just goes and then it like goes down the cascade, and I'm just sitting there. I'm like, dude, I just got this crazy idea in my head, and I was like, I really want to jump in the water. That's the idea that I had. I was like, I really, really want to jump in the water. You know, really, really want to jump in the water. And for some fucking reason, something in my head told me that I would probably survive. I don't know why. I just had this confident belief inside of my head, confident belief that if I had jumped into the Niagara Falls, I would survive. I would just go down with the cascade, and I would just swim up again into the surface of the water. So somehow the idea of dying in this process did not fucking make any sense to me. It didn't register in my head, but I didn't do it, of course. Um, you know, I didn't do it. I regret it. I probably should have done it. I probably should have done it. Oh man. But yeah, so I traveled to many places. Traveled to America. Traveled to Brussels. I went to Belgium. I traveled to Italy. I went to Pisa. Went to Bologna. Went to Firenze. Those are some amazing places, man. Traveled all over Germany. There's probably not a single fucking place anywhere in the west or south of Germany that I haven't visited. Frankfurt, Stuttgart, Heilbronn, Berlin, practically all over NRW. I've been to a lot of places in NRW as well. Um, Obviously, England. I lived in England for multiple years. France. I've been all over France. There's not even a single fucking place in France that I haven't visited. I've been to Spain multiple times as a child and as an adult as well. Traveled to a lot of places, to be honest. A lot of it by myself, but sometimes with other people as well. But yeah. So yeah, I think it's important to take risks and be kind of adventurous in life. I mean, you don't want to play things safe because I always see it this way. And I'm like, if you take it too safe, you don't really. I don't know. I don't really see the point. It's like you. Yeah, it's like a sheep. What does the sheep do? All it does is it sits there and it grazes, grazing the grass, and then it dies. You know, it's just a boring life. If you play it too safe, then it's just so fucking boring, and it just doesn't mean anything, right? I mean, what's the freaking point? At least if you're being adventurous and taking some risks, like you get to enjoy a lot of rewards. Even if you make mistakes, and you will make a lot of mistakes along the way, and there will be pain as well. There will be a lot of pain, but the pleasure, the joy is also going to be multiplied. You're going to enjoy a lot of things. And yeah, took a lot of risks with women as well. I That's probably an aspect of my life that I wish I was a little bit more successful with women. Maybe, I guess, probably I've been taking a lot of risks in many parts of my life, but with women not as much. I've had a lot of sexual encounters with women that I like just took the risk and went for it. But I don't know. For some reason, I feel like I could have done more. You know what I mean? I just get this feeling that because I follow this dude on YouTube. His name is John Anthony Lifestyle, and he's like a what they call a pickup artist. He's like a sex coach of some sort. Like he's teaching people how to get laid. And I look at him and I'm like, dude, this guy's banged like fucking 2,000 chicks. I swear to God, man. Like, like his lay count is like fucking 2,000 chicks, man. That's insane, man. Imagine banging 2,000 chicks, man. That is, woo, that is something. That is insanely good. And obviously, I know a lot of people think that he's lying and making shit up, but I don't think he's lying about any of it. Because I totally get it. I get that people lie about things and they say, oh, I did this, I did. These people, like, they go around saying, oh, I did this, I did that. I fucking, I robbed the bank and I fucking, I fought in the civil war of some fucking country. And you know what I mean? But it's just complete nonsense. Yeah, a lot of people do lie when they're talking about things that they did. They do lie about shit, but I don't really think that John Anthony Lifestyle is lying about his lay count. I think he really is. I think he's really doing it, and the reason why I think that is because even he shows people footage, like when he meets the girl, he talks to her, takes her number. A lot of times he will also take pictures with the girl before they go to bed or as they're going towards his hotel room. Take pictures with her when they're naked in bed. Videos of him taking her to bed, or videos of the entire thing sometimes, like of him meeting her at the bar, slowly taking her to his room, and then they show you what's happening in the room. Obviously not going to show you like the encounter, but they will show you everything leading up to it. And these chicks don't look like they're acting. They don't look like they're paid actors. They don't look like prostitutes. They look like legitimate, just regular women that just happened to be there at the bar that he went and he talked to, And the problem, I think, with him is that there's a lot of people pretending to be doing these things when they're not, and they're lying about it. So what they do is they'll like say, "Oh, I'm always with these chicks and blah 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 blah." But of course, behind the scenes, they actually paid these chicks They paid them, they're prostitutes, and they paid them money just to show up there on a video and to talk to him and pretend to be into him and that kind of stuff, so that the foolish people, are going to think, oh, he's getting laid, he's getting all these women, but actually he's not getting anything. He's just paying these prostitutes to just show up on the video. Like, what the fuck is this? You know what I mean? So yeah, but I don't know. I think that I'm pretty clever. I'm clever enough and have enough discernment to figure out who is telling the truth and who is lying, because you can tell. You can tell when they're paid and they're prostitutes, even when the interaction will just look so fake and unreasonably weird and off key. Whilst with John Anthony, you can tell like it's legit. Like he's just going to, because even when he's showing all these like infields of him going and talking to these women and bringing them to his hotel room and banging them, like, it's like as he's some of the girls that he's talking to, a lot of times he does also have rejections. And this is the thing, because the people who are paying money for the prostitutes, because they're paying the money for the prostitutes, there's not going to be any rejection because they're paid actors, right? Whilst if you're dealing with real, genuine, normal humans, there's always going to be some form of rejection. Like not every attempt that you have with a girl is going to succeed. It might lead to some rejection, and there is with him a lot of rejections as well. So he's not just showing you all the successes; he's also showing you that there's a lot of women also rejecting him. But at the end of the day, he still got to 2,000 lays, which 2,000 is a huge fucking number. Like that's insane. I don't think most dudes are getting even nowhere near 2,000. So yeah, I mean, that's probably one of the aspects in my life that I wish I did take more risks in. Although I've had my fair share of sexual experiences with women throughout my life. So that's pretty cool. But I don't know. For some reason, I wish it was more. I wish it was a bigger number. I wish it was like 100 or 200 or 300. Anyway, it is what it is. So anyway, guys, don't be a wimp. Be adventurous. Take risks. Do a lot of risky things. Do whatever you please. Do what you want to do. Go out there and discover yourself and discover your abilities and capacities, because a lot of these people that play it safe, they don't discover their capacities. They don't discover what they're actually capable of doing. And of course, if you never go out there and do it and try to get it done, you're never going to discover you're never going to discover your abilities. You're never going to discover what you can actually do and get done. You're only going to discover that if you're actually able to go out there and do it and try it. You know what I mean? And that's what the government wants. The government wants the sheep to be safe, to live a safe, unadventurous life, and just play it safe. And you keep playing it safe until the day you die. And what was the point of your entire life? Nothing. It was completely pointless. You know what I mean? So that's just the way that it is. Anyway, guys, I hope that you enjoyed this little chit chat. And if you like, subscribe, and comment. Let me know what you guys think in the comment section, because I always like to hear from you guys. And thank you guys, by the way. You managed to recently. A lot of you have subscribed, because it's so funny, because just a couple of days ago I went and checked and I found that my subscriber count was 260, and now my subscriber count is like 277 or 76. And that's pretty cool. So thank you guys. Thank you very much. And I'll see you guys in the next one.